Hello my friends, my family, and of course esteemed colleagues. Today we're going to have a little fun. We're going to have fun with sound. And I will show you basically how sound can be used as healing therapy. Now, what is sound? Sound is reproduction, rhythmical creation of frequencies. We always listen now to this frequency. All depends on the frequency. What is this frequency? Well, the frequency is pulsation. We know that sound is a wave, but the wave is creating by a rhythmical pulsation. Now, what I mean by this, I have explained that if you have, for example, a water and you put two speakers or more speakers, every time the speaker emits sound, boom, the sound is going to create distortion in the water in a form of circle. Now, if this is when we look at it more or less like almost two-dimensional, but when you go three-dimensional and you imagine that the speaker is in a water, and when it creates an impulse, boom, it creates a ball that spreads around. And we always say, well, this is a first geometrical form of sacred geometry. It's actually not circle, it's a ball. And now, depending on the rhythmical production of the sound, boom, 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 you are creating this ball after ball, and as the ball is creating, it's an impulse that is moving through the water, and then it moves as a wave, okay? It just grows bigger and larger and larger and larger. So when you have another one, so you create another one, so they are falling one after the other after the other. The closer they are together, we call it that higher is the frequency. More space they are, the lower is the frequency. It's like when we make a sound. If you want to make a deep sound, you have to space the frequencies. So basically your vocal cords have to move slower, deep voices. You actually feel it here. Now you want to make higher frequency, you speed up the vibration, transmission of the sound. This is much higher vibration. Now the thing is that you have to feel the throat vibrating to tune in. Now, why is that important? Because whenever you create a rhythmical vibration from different points, you are creating a variety of waves which come in a particular intervals, and they collide, creating points of contact. Every time they collide, they create distortion, and they create other geometrical form. After all, first one, with the first collision, I have explained, you have Vesica Piscis, which is oval. And then you have many ovals. And wherever they collide, you have 2 points of contact. And then another comes by, you have 2 more contacts. You have infinite amounts of contacts that you can then draw lines through them, and you are going to create particular image. And these images we call geometrical forms. One of them is cube. We all know what the cube is. Okay? One of them is pyramid type, tetrahedron. Then you can have icosahedron, octahedron. There are many different hadrons. They are all, if you put them together, they are all going to create particular net. One of the most important forms, geometrical forms of creation, we are calling them, number one, the overall scheme of properly tuned vibrations. We call them the flower of life, within which we have a tree of life and seed of life. And the seed of life is actually when you have a zygote, a fertile egg, and that one cell starts multiplying. It cuts in half, you have 2, then you have 4, and all of a sudden it goes into 8, and 8 basically creates the seed of life. Why 8? Because if you take now these 8 cells apart, each one can now continue separately multiplying and create a life. So from one you can have 8 lives. After that, when you go into 16, you cannot do it anymore. You cannot take one of the 16th and create life from it. It's past the sacred geometry parameter. So the seed of life is very important form. And these 8 cells, original 8 cells from which a body is created, they always remain in the body. Okay, and they are actually in scrotum. They are close to anus. Okay, between anus and scrotum, or between anus and vagina, that little space, right there you have your original 8 cells. They have created the whole body. And they are permanent form. Now, why do we talk about sound? Sound is a special gift that humans have because sound signifies creation. We create through sound. Well, we create producing images. But image is nothing more than the geometric shape that is being then converted through a program which is in the brain into visual forms, but even senses. It's all there. It's all about vibration. And normal, when we talk about vibration, it produces sound, and this sound is particular tone. Everything vibrates and produces sound. Here, I don't have tuning fork, so here is a glass, and when you click it, you can hear after it has a resonance. Now, if you have a tuning fork, then you point it, and then for a while you can hear that maintains the sound, right? Now, when I talk about frequency and that brain deciphers, it's programmed to basically show you the frequency in a particular way, either through your senses, either through light, through sight, or through senses as taste and touch, sound. Now, everything there is vibrates, and we are not formed from one thing. We have multitude of vibrations in our body, and this is what I call orchestra. and the orchestra has to be tuned. When it's tuned, we are healthy. It is like, okay, here, I'm gonna take this instrument, we call guitar, and I strum a particular note which is called a C note. Okay, you can hear the resonance of note C. But now I can make the same C sound using multiple frequencies. Okay, when we use multiple frequencies on guitar, we call it a chord. They are all synchronized, and they all together produce sound C. C is sound of creation. And actually, everything is tuned, and proper frequency of sound C is tuned to a tone A of C scale, which is this. And it should be on 432 hertz. Well, this was changed just to off-tune it. And it makes big difference because it doesn't sound the same when the frequency is not there. And now we are tuning it back into original 432 hertz. So the music sounds well. And the body vibrates properly. Through music, we are being affected. Why do you think that music progressively got worse and worse? You look at Bach, you listen to Bach, Chopin, Mozart. This is soothing music. You go and listen to 50s, 60s, even the early Elvis Presley. Still, this is beautiful sound. Then you go into rock, okay? It already gets a little nervy. But what we are listening to today, it's worse than traffic noise. It is specifically created to make us sick, to take us out of tune. When you have a perfectly tuned sound of chord, let's say C, and you feel synchronicity, as soon as something is a little bit off, whoops, you can hear the sucker. Okay, it's not it. And on a guitar, you really cannot just off-tune slightly. You move, just push wrong tune because everything is scaled. You have scaled. So you cannot you just go into higher tone. But even that, the tone doesn't belong into C scale, into C chord, and bingo, you feel the difference and just doesn't sound right. On violin, when you don't have separations, you can just slightly different position, and it looks like you don't have the string tuned properly. And this is even worse for the ear. And you always catch it. You can have perfectly tuned orchestra and one cello string between 20 cellos and all the pianos and violins, but one string is off tune and you'll pick it up, it will be like a sore thumb because it does not vibrate correctly. And the same is in our body. And when it doesn't vibrate correctly, the brain, it shows it to us as error or as disease. This is how the brain is programmed. Now, why is the sound so important? Because it starts from frequency. The frequency starts from a flickering mode. whoa, this is producing sound. If you produce deeper sound and you start feeling in your throat that it doesn't sound well until you establish proper resonance, okay? So you can very often just listen to monk and mantras, even the Om mantra. You start vibrating, your whole face starts vibrating, nose starts vibrating. This is creation of sound, which is a healing sound. I have mentioned that body is composed of frequencies. Forget about atoms, electrons, none of this exists. We have invented it just because brain had to understand a little bit the physicality. But it does not really exist. The only thing that exists is vibration of energy. And every organ, every tissue, every cell that we have created is actually particular vibration. When it's all synchronized, what happens? You can take, and a lot of sound healers do this, you can take a tuning fork, bang it, like the glass, no? But it will maintain the sound much longer. So it will just resonate like this. So you can have a person standing or laying down, you fling the tuning fork, you hear the resonance of it, you tune to it, you just start feeling it. And you come with the tuning fork closer to the body. Just keep coming closer, 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 closer. And at one point you will start feeling that the sound is being muffled. Okay, it's not anymore, it doesn't sound right. Now you can go over the body from head to toe in certain distance, just before it changes sound. You go, and then go like this, and if nothing changes, you flick it again and go a little closer, and again scan the body. If no sound changes, flick it again, go closer to the body, and all of a sudden at one point you may hear the sound stops, it dulls down and it cuts off, doesn't sound right. Well, you are now in the area of poor resonance of the body. It is interfering with the sound. Why? Because it is not tuned right. And you have discovered now which organ has a problem. Anybody can do this, just little practice. So just click the fork and come as close to the body before it shifts. You just feel that all of a sudden it's muffled the sound. So then you click it again and just go before this point and start scanning the body. And then come closer and closer until you see that sound changes only in certain areas. And those are the areas with the problem. Now, we can now resurrect the proper vibration. Now, how do we do it? Well, you have your tuning fork. Doesn't matter what tune it is. Because remember, it's a chord, it's an orchestra, it's a sound, where one string, one tissue, one organ is out of tune. But you have the tuning fork. Again, doesn't matter which tune you are using from the chord, as long as it's tuned properly. Tuning fork is tuned properly. So then you again bang the fork and now concentrate on the spot that is not resonating correctly. So you take the fork, you cling it, ping, and approach the muffled area of the body. And you will see, every time you do it, you concentrate on it, because you are the generator, you are actually helping in healing this frequency. So you just click it, listen to it, and go closer, concentrate, get closer to it, closer to the body, and you will see every time you do it, you can come a little closer. Why? Because you are tuning this frequency. You are repairing the damage. You took the instrument where one string is out of tune, and you are tuning the string. Until you cling it and it resonates in the same level with all the rest of the body. Then you go again, click it, and scan the whole body, and you will see you pass by this part of the body that was changing the resonance, and it is not changing it anymore. It means you have tuned it. We are all healers. We can heal ourselves, we can heal others. We just have to understand it's all is in frequency. Even toxic organ can be made resonate properly. Of course, toxic organ will not maintain the resonance. Why? Because the voltage is low. So any sound from the outside is going to flick it back into bad tune, or whatever you ate if it's out of tune. Every time you cook food, you are changing the tune. You can see that food has changed. It means frequency has changed. It will do the same in your body as soon as frequency drops. So maintaining the voltage is very important, so your frequency is resilient to shift, to change. But once when it changes, you can tune it back with sound. Now you can understand how terrible for the body it is to listen to bad sound. And all this new music, it's awful sound. Even the new so-called singers, popular singers, they have awful voices. They are not famous because there are some great singers with great voices. They are paid people just to take your frequency down. Not because they are great, because they are awful. So, again, we are debunking the whole system that we are living in. Remember that the flickering, the frequency, is producing these sounds, producing the contact points, producing geometric shapes. And through our senses of vision, we are being shown every impulse as a picture. So actually what we are experiencing as reality is just a set of images that shifts with every impulse. It flickers. It basically flickers in and out of existence, same what happens on a TV set. But TV set flickers in frequency of 50 hertz, 60 hertz, depend how it's tuned. It means this many times a second it goes in and out of existence. It's not permanent. This is why if you are filming a television program, it may come that all of a sudden you see on your movie that you are taking, it's all flickering, and when you are looking directly, you don't see flickering. Because now they are not synchronized, the flickers of what you are taking with the flickering that is over there. So there are delays and you see them. Very often, you can see in the movies, car is going forward and you see the wheels, and the wheels look like they are turning backwards. Car is going this way and wheels are going this way. Why? Because it's out of sequence. So basically, you start seeing it differently because it's not in a proper sequence. This just proves that everything what we experience is hologram. It's not really there. And it's construct of our understanding, of our brain. And we always search for answers. So we create things. Oh, there must be something smaller than this, so we find it. Oh, it's a particle. Oh, it's atom. No, smaller. It's proton, neutron. A smaller electron. A smaller photon. We create everything. Nothing exists. All that exists is just frequency of energy, of pulsation. That's a frequency. And when the pulsation is correct with the program that was installed, then everything is fine. When there is a delay or interruption of this frequency, we are programmed to experience it as something else. Could be disease, could be out of tune guitar, could be overcooked meal, but it's only change, slight change of frequency. Since what we experience are images, these images are being stored because they have electromagnetic character. Sacred geometry, again, the first is ball, the second is oval, Vesica Piscis. And from Vesica Piscis, we have now production or creation of light, magnetism, gravity, or magnetic negative, the same thing, and flow of electric current as collision of expansion of light. This is why light can be converted into electricity. Those are original first expressions of energy which are in quantum field. This is why you really cannot see them other than light. And the reason we can see light, because the brain is programmed to show us frequency of light as a particle. Without a brain, this particle doesn't exist. And then we are being told, well, light has no weight. But how come that things have weight? How come that this glass have weight? I can feel it has weight, but it's light. Because we are told stupidities. As soon light has come from the same form as gravity or magnetic negative that pulls things together. And this creates weight, which means light has a weight. How much? Depends on the programming. And actually is related to frequencies. So you want to levitate something, you just have to find the proper frequency. And through sound, look for the sound and you can elevate it. Now these people who can do it, they practice. Soon we are going to understand it much better and we'll be able to do all these things instantaneously. But sound is extremely important, and we can use it for healing. We can use it for many different practical things, and it's our gift. Many things we can do strictly by manifesting the electromagnetic frequency. But sound is like the amplifier for it to happen faster and stronger. So this is basic introduction into sound and healing. We are going to see many instruments now that will use sound as a form of healing. Again, we don't need a sound. It can be just frequency that is not audible, because why? We have basically 7 basic sounds. And after that, you go into scale above or below. A, B, C, D, F, G, H, and then you go again. A, B, C, D, E, F. And again, A, B, C, D, E, F. Or C, D, E, F, G. Whatever, depending what scale you are in, with that tone you start, and you go, and you have 7 sounds, and poof, then you go again to the first sound in higher octave or lower octave. But we are programmed to be able to hear as a sound only certain octaves. If there is a 1 meter of available octaves, we are some 1 centimeter somewhere in that scale. The higher or lower frequencies we cannot hear because we are programmed not to hear them. And we don't need this emission of the sound, because as soon as we create the frequency, and we create it using our brain, then this frequency is being transmitted. And this is what we call telepathy. You can catch it, and you know exactly. You don't need a symbol. But symbolism we can talk about other time. This time, basically just to understand the sound and importance. And more people do not even need tuning forks, because we have these incredible creatures that we can produce these sounds. So you can train yourself to a sound. Use your vocal cords. Like a guitar, for example, but you use your chords. Until you start feeling the vibration. And then you can just come closer to a body, and you see something start interfering with this vibration of yours. And you know, okay, here is a problem. Many people are doing this now. I have a friend that can do this. It's about tuning, practice. So, we don't need any instruments. We can do everything ourselves with little practice, and of course understanding to know why things work and how things work. Of course, this has nothing to do with mainstream medicine, because mainstream medicine is not even created to heal. It is created to produce diseases. This is why it works with toxic remedies to prevent body's natural healing autopilot. And everything we are being told in medical school is to program us into understanding things the wrong way. And this is why if you depend on doctor to heal you, well, you are doomed. It's impossibility unless the doctor actually neglects what is being told in medical school and start investigating and start gathering the proper knowledge, which slowly is going to happen, because what we are going through right now, if this doesn't wake you up, then nothing will. I mean, the stupidity that is happening now with this Wu flu, don't even want to say it so they don't ban the video. It's ridiculous. Thank you for listening. I hope you understand your body a little bit more and your reality. Love you all.